The whole Downey Made thing is finding what you love and then doing it.
Think about the students first, and don't worry about the inconvenience that anything might create for the adults. We're here for the kids.
Made is number one. The success of this department is because what Phil Davis has made it to be.
We were known as Downey CTE for Career and Technical Education. It still is CTE, but we decided to do our own thing, and that's where our Made brand came out of.
They're made to be engineers, made to be astronauts, made to be, chefs, whatever they dream that they want to be.
A lot of schools are like, oh, that's just a sports school, or that's a football school, or that's just for the arts. We have everything. And that's one thing that I absolutely love about this, because I feel like there's a place for every student.
In other places, career technical education is for students that aren't going to college. And so that's why you'll find in our 12 pathways, there's a 4-year directly out of high school option for every one of those pathways.
We began to develop programs. I think the very first one was a film and television.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Ricardo from Did You Know? And you're watching VNS.
We had a PE weight room that we walked into and said, oh, this'll do. We also had a teacher on the campus that had been an assistant director at Sony. We went to that teacher and said, hey, have you ever thought about doing this? And the look on his face was like, he just won the lottery. When you don't have money at first, you take what you've got and you make it work, right? And so we did it program after program until we learned about grants. I think somebody walked in and said, have you thought about doing this grant? And immediately my thought was, yeah, but I've never written a grant. I don't think I'm really suited for that. But if you don't know what you're doing, go find people to do. June Baya and I worked on writing the grant. She was the brains behind it.
He asked if I would be interested in writing a grant. I remember a couple months after we submitted, Phil called me and said, we got the grant.
It was $6 million, and from there on, it was just pathway after pathway after pathway.
There's a lot of schools have one of the things. They have Vex Robotics, they have A Machine, they have 3D printers. I think it's having access to all of those things puts us on that cutting edge.
We have 6 burners, 3 combination ovens, 2 convection ovens, 2 steel ovens. It's a complete kitchen made for a hotel.
Of course, excited about what's happening with the culinary arts and the new food truck.
Kids get a business experience. They get more experience in dealing with the public face to face. We bought a $185,000 food truck, and I think it's worth $1 million to us.
We made a commitment that we were not going to outfit these classrooms with anything other than what was being used in industry. Industry leaders will come and say, that's the same milling machine that I have in my business.
For many years, I wrote grants for people who just wanted the money. To write a grant for a community that has 70% of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, and 90+% are kids of color, and yet they have a 96% graduation rate. It's great to be at a place where they really wanted to go to the kids.
With our kids, the reason it's so exciting, right? Here it is in a nutshell. These kids live in poverty. If we don't help them, nobody will. Sorry. I get a little emotional sometimes about certain things, but it breaks my heart when things aren't fair. So a kid with money gets better things than a kid without money. They were just born, they had nothing to do with that. So we want to do these kinds of things for kids. The other piece is I think sometimes people don't listen enough to kids. So when they come to our schools, like, God, your kids are so smart. Like, they're so surprised. I'm like, yeah, you didn't know that? I mean, there's 2 things, like they're kids and they're poor. Yeah, poor kids are smart too. They just don't get chances like everybody else.